How you doing? Scotty from Scott's Bass Lessons. And today we are going to be talking about fretboard zones. So if you don't know what they are, stick around because they're really going to make learning your fretboard a lot easier, which is what we all want, right? And we're also going to be talking about the circle of fifths and how to use it as a bass player to level up your knowledge of the fretboard, but also and specifically being able to see all of the different patterns that we want to be able to see on the fingerboard, okay? But first of all, fretboard zones. Why even use them and what are they? Well, first of all, what they are is splitting the neck up into different zones. The reason why we want to be able to do that is we want to reduce the amount of information we have to learn. You might have picked up a bass book and it's teaching you to, learn your 2 and 3 octave arpeggios and all of that fancy stuff. And where that does definitely have a place. Nobody seems to be talking about fretboard zones, which is why I wanted to put this video together to help you understand how to break that, not learn these 2 octave arpeggios. Like, go ahead and learn them, they're cool and all that. But what we also want to be doing is breaking this fretboard down into smaller areas, which is what I do, right? So if I take something like this, right? Okay, something like that, right? As I'm working up the fingerboard, I don't see this just as an endless, endless notes or endless patterns. I have broken the neck into very specific zones. I'm actually going to map out what they are right now, okay? And the first zone, and it's a zone that we all know about, is the first 5 frets. That's the first zone of the neck. Now, I like to break up the neck into 5 fret blocks. So the next 5 frets that I like to get my students to learn is frets 5 to 9. And if you think about it, you'll already begin to see that, okay, well, I'm going to learn these first 5 frets here. I'm going to get that stuff down. And then by using this zone kind of like, methodology, as it were, okay, by using the zones, what that does, it gives you a very clear next area of the neck to learn, okay? And then once you've done frets 5 to 9, I like to do 8 to 12, okay? So we've got 1 to 5, 5 to 9, 8 to 12, okay? Now, by doing this, again, it's going to give you the opportunity to start learning the areas of the neck that you might not be familiar with. So in the comments right now, let me know which area. I want 3 bits of information. Number 1, which area are you most confident about? I know that'll be frets 1 to 5, okay? And of the next 2, okay, 5 to 9 and 8 to 12, which of those are you least and most confident with? My assumption is, because this was what it was like with me, I was very confident with this area of the neck. Down in here, the first 5 frets. Less confident around the 5 to 9 area, and then the 8 to 12, forget about it. So this is the first big thing to take from this lesson, is that we shouldn't be trying to learn our neck all in one block because it's too much information. Yes, you can play across your fingerboard like I was showing you earlier. Okay, you can play across your fingerboard, but to be able to do that, the easiest way is to start breaking it down into these zones. Then once you've learned the zones, I'm going to be talking about the circle of fifths in a minute to help you learn the zones, okay? Then you can start going from one zone to the next and really clearly seeing where you are on the neck rather than just getting lost in this sea of notes. Look at this thing. Look at it. It's like a dare gone wrong, right? Okay, so once you've got your 3 zones down, what the heck should you be doing in those zones to make sure that you know them? Well, I've got an awesome exercise for you. Okay, so this thing here is called the circle of fifths. And if you go clockwise around it, you'll see that the notes move in fifths, right? C, G, D, A, and etc. And if you move anti-clockwise, you'll see that it moves in fourths. C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B, E, A, D, G, and then back to C. Okay, now before we go any further, if you want to get into this in greater detail, I really highly recommend that you check out my Fretboard Accelerator program that is open for enrollment right now. We open it once a year for enrollment, and that time is right now. In fact, by the time you watch this video, we might only have 24 hours or less for you to check it out and get enrolled. So what I'll do is put the link in the description so you can hit that link, or you can just go to studybasewithscott.com and check out the program where we dive in deep and learn our fretboard, dipping your toe into the water right here. But this is the method that I use to really help you start understanding, not only understanding the fretboard, but really, mastering the fretboard and making sure that you can see all of the notes available, all of the patterns available over the entire fretboard every single time you pick up the bass. Enrollment closes super soon. Now, let's get back to this, okay? We've got the circle of fifths down here, and what I would love for you to do is start playing triads around the circle of fifths. What do I even mean by that, okay? Well, a triad is the root, third, and fifth of a chord. Root, third, and fifth of a chord. So a C major triad, okay, C major triad will be root, third, and fifth of the chord. C, E, and G. Great, okay. What do we do next? Well, and just to point this out, okay, I want you to go anti-clockwise or anti-clockwise around the circle of fifths, okay? Why? Because in most popular songs, chords move up in fourths, okay, or down in fifths. They move in this direction, C to F, B flat to E flat, okay? Just trust me, okay? I want you to move anti-clockwise. So we've done the C triad. Great, okay? Next triad, F, A, and C. Or we could play F, A, and C right there. Here's the important thing. As you're going around the circle of fifths here, I only want you to focus on zone 1. The purple zone, which is frets 1 through 5, okay? So we've got C, E, G, F, A, C. Next triad will be B flat. Next triad will be E flat. Next triad will be A flat, D flat, G flat, B, E, A, G, G, that was D, G, and then back to C. Okay. Now you might be thinking, Scott, slow down. Okay. Well, I'm actually going to put a little bit of work back on you. Okay. I want you to work out the shapes of the triad in the first 5 frets here. But what I've done to help you out is in the description down below, I've written out all of the triads for you. So you're going to see C, E, G, F, A, C, B flat, D, F, E flat, G, B flat. I've written them all in the description. So hit that description, you'll see all of the triads. Then what I want you to do is work them out in the first 5 frets. You have to do it in the first 5 frets. And what you will find is you're going to have to start using shapes that you haven't used before. Shout out again to my Fretboard Accelerator course, also link in the description, because that's where I show you all of the shapes, okay? What you're going to do is, again, you're going to go around the circle of fifths anti-clockwise, playing a major triad, okay, major triad within frets 1 to 5. It's going to sound like this. Okay, that's the exercise. Then, once you've got that down, I want you to move to frets 5 to 9. Okay, same exercise, frets 5 to 9. Now, you might work on frets 1 to 5 doing that exercise for the next 2 to 4 weeks. You might do it sooner, but just to sort of like, limit, I guess sort of like set your expectations, okay? It's okay to take 2 to 4 weeks on this stuff, okay? It's really important you're doing the good stuff right here, okay? Now, once that's down, you want to do frets 5 to 9. Same exercise. Anti-clockwise around the circle of fifths, so you're doing the circle of fourths, anti-clockwise, and we're going to do a major triad on each of the points of the clock, right? So C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B, E, A, D, G, C. Okay, and you've got it. Once you've got that down, then it's time to move to the last section here, frets 8 to 12, and run the same exercise. And check it out, every time you do it, the patterns change. The patterns won't be the same here as they are here as they are here. Okay, yes, they're transferable, but you'll have to use different patterns to fit them under your fingers. B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B, E, A, D, G, C. Okay, now by doing those exercises, it gives you a very clear indicator of, do you know your fretboard in this area? Do you know it in this area? Do you know it in this area? Okay, so this gives you a really cool exercise to use. So it's a really awesome way to really help you start understanding, first of all, do you know these different zones of the fingerboard? And it gives you an exercise to then get going. Now, if you do want to check out the Fretboard Accelerator, again, it's closing for enrollment anytime now. I open it once a year for enrollment. Next time will be probably mid-2024. I'll put the link in the description. But if you check that out, not only do we do this with the major triads, so we've got major triads, we also do it with the minor triads. We do it with the augmented triads. We also do it with the diminished triads, okay? Because that is all of the triads that you will ever need, okay? Major, minor, augmented, and diminished. And in the program, I also show you some cool stuff, like, for instance, a major, any triad, check this out, only has 3 fingerings. I'll put 3 fingers for short. Every triad only has 3 fingerings. If you learn all 3 fingerings, it gives you the ability to map the entire fretboard. Let me give you one example. So let's take a C major triad. That's what I call the second finger position, because I'm starting on my second finger, or second finger shape. Okay, well, the first finger shape looks like this, starting on the first finger, but it's a completely different pattern. The fourth finger shape looks like this, starting on the fourth finger. Now, let's look into the future and hypothetically say that you know all 3 shapes now. The first finger position, the second finger position, and the fourth finger position. That would give you the ability to do this, okay? Second finger, first finger, fourth finger, second finger, first finger, fourth finger position, second finger position, first finger position, fourth finger position. So let me show you the opposite of this. What happens if you only use one shape? Okay, for a triad. Let's say you know this shape, and that's the only shape you use, okay? Because I do get questions saying, Scott, why do we need 3 shapes? Okay, well, here's why. If you only knew one position for a triad, let's say this is C, well, that's the shape. The next time you can use that shape is all the way up here. Then the next time you can use that shape is all the way up here. Whereas if you know 3 shapes for each triad, you map out the entire fretboard. There's no dead areas between. Okay, you're not playing down here and then you just got all of this dead space and then you can use the same pattern. Then all of this dead space and you can use the same pattern. You've got all of these patterns that link up to give you a really clear view of the fretboard. And when I'm playing these lines, I'm using those shapes all the time. And what it does, if you start doing this with all of the different triads, learning them in the 3 fingerings, it gives you like a scaffold that basically, or a map that you can instantly see across the entire fretboard. Because not only have you learned the 3 fingerings for each triad type, you've made sure that you can use them in the 3 zones of the fretboard. So when somebody says C major, you go from this to, and you can use it all over the fretboard. I'm seeing these clearly in the zones, okay? You need to do this work to be able to do that though. And then you can use that with bass lines. So when I think at some point I did like a something like that in this lesson, right? When I'm doing that, when I'm playing something like that, I clearly am using, you can't see it, but I can see it, I'm clearly using all of these different zones and all of the triads as well to pull all of that together. That's the scaffold. The triads are the scaffold that hold everything together. The foundational elements of everything I play are always tied into these triads. It's pretty cool stuff. Remember, I've put the triads, all of those major triads down below in the description. I've written them all out for you, a big old line of them. But if you want to go any further with this and really jump in, highly recommend checking out the Fretboard Accelerator program. Link is down below in the description. Go to studybasewithscott.com. We close an enrollment anytime over the next day or so. And we open it once a year for enrollment. So hopefully I'll see you on the inside. Take it easy, guys. See you in the shed.